Hello, I've come back with a new book called The Jungle Book. This is written by Rudyard Kipling. I will introduce you to the main characters and I'll tell you about their names. First one, Kaa, Bagheera, Mowgli, Balu, Akela, and Sher Khan. Let me tell you a bit about all these characters so that you find it easy when I refer to them in the story. Kaa. Kaa is a 30 feet long python. Next, Bagheera. Bagheera is a black panther. Mowgli. Mowgli is an abandoned man-child, or the animals called him man-cub, who the wolves took and gave him food and shelter. Next, Balu, the brown bear. Akela, the leader of the wolf pack. Sher Khan is the wicked tiger. He is very bad. Now, I told you that Mowgli is a man-cub. But how does he come to the jungle? The father wolf, called Raksha, had to kill. While going to hunt and kill for some buck or cattle, he saw a man-cub. He took him to his own cave and Mother Wolf named him as Mowgli. From the first day, Father Wolf, named Raksha, found the man-cub. Sher Khan wanted to eat him, but Raksha kept him safe within his cave. Raksha says that it is his cub and he can kill it only. But he's actually not planning to kill. He's planning to raise Mowgli as one of his own cubs. And then a fight happens and finally Raksha gets his way. Mowgli is added in the wolf pack. Balu of the Sekani pack teaches all the wolves the laws of the jungle. Mowgli was one of Balu's pupils and Balu was delighted to have him. Sometimes Bagheera would come to the jungle to see how Mowgli was getting on. One day he talked to Bandar Log, meaning monkey people. If you know, Banda means monkey in Hindi. He talked to the Bandar Log. Balu finds it and then Mowgli started playing. But Bandar Log are very rude and bad monkeys. And one day they kidnap Mowgli. No monkey fears any person, any animal of the jungle except for Kaa, the python. Balu and Bagheera request Kaa to help them. Finally, Kaa tries to kill all the monkeys and Mowgli is rescued. After this, the wolves force him to go back to the man pack. Mowgli is sad, but he finally goes. There, a rich man's wife, Mesua, adopted Mowgli, thinking that it was Mesua's own son, Natu. Who knows, it could have even been Natu. But it's not mentioned in the story, for nobody knew it. He lived for some time in a village, or where the man pack live, the mans live. But he couldn't stay there for long. He had to come back to the jungle. He thought that's where he belonged to. He comes back. Soon Mother Wolf and Father Wolf die. And then one wolf called Wontola. His name is not Wontola, but he's from a Wontola. Wontola meaning no pack. Like most wolves go to packs. They hunt together in packs, they sleep, they live together in packs. But in this story, a Wontola means that any certain animal doesn't belong to the pack. This special wolf, Wontola, However, I tell his name is not Vontola, but they call him Vontola, for he doesn't belong to any pack. This Vontola is affected by dholes, a kind of ferocious dogs, and they affect all the wolves, including Mowgli's pack, the wolf who took and gave him shelter, other than mother and father wolf, and his 4 wolf brothers also, right? And they together fight the dholes. That's a long story. I'm actually giving just a gist, because the story is really long and big, so I'm just giving a series of events so that you will just get a rough idea of what the story is about. And then after defeating the dholes, Bagheera repeats that Sher Khan is Mowgli's enemy, and he flies between the jungle and village. He goes to the man pack and returns to the jungle, and this goes on for some time. And all these dholes, the ferocious dogs, came while he was with the man pack, and at a time, those times, Akela and the new leader, Akela's got very old at that time. So the new leader, Pau, all came to the village and they fought the dholes, and all that happened, and then Akela's died, and Mowgli finally kills Sher Khan, and then before Akela died, she kept telling that Akela told that Mowgli will drive Mowgli back to the man pack, because they all told that he was a man. Moreover, nobody could look in his eyes, and Bagheera told him a sample story like this. Bagheera was born between men, in the king's palace of Udaipur, but one day he felt he was Bagheera the panther and no man's plaything. So he came to the jungle. He broke the silly lock with one slash of his paw. But still no creature or the jungle people can see him. It's something like that. Now, there are many things that make up the laws of the jungle. I don't want to tell it to you because I want you to experience that. And in between, you can find 4 exercises and activities after a series of events like these. When the dholes came and when Mowgli was first given shelter, there are some little exercises to check whether you know it. And they'll test you with some of the things that really came in the story, and if you read it carefully, you can answer them. And after killing Sher Khan, Mowgli is very happy, and as Akela said, Balu too says that he has to go to the man pack, and then he visits the man pack and Mesua, and Mesua has got another son, not Natu. We don't know who is Natu, right? It can be Mowgli or some other person. And then she informs that some news, because that time Mowgli has known the English or whatever language humans speak, and also the master words, which is a language understood by all animals. And then the jungle doesn't cast him out, but he goes himself. He says goodbye to all his friends, and then there are poems at some places describing how the story is, and in the end there are some quick did you know facts and some small things that tell you more about the story. And one interesting thing, I will read them out what's written exactly, and then I'll explain it. This is the second part, first heading is Laws of the Jungle or Law of the Jungle, then Mowgli and the Feral Child, how tigers become man-eaters, Sioni, the tale of missing jungle, and lastly, did you know? Now, what I find is more interesting in these 2 pages, which they give more about the story, is Mowgli and the Feral Child. I'll just read it out, and then I will explain what that tiny para means. Mowgli is believed to be the founder of many feral children in literature, including Edgar Rice Burroughs' Tarzan 1912, and Olive Becker's Shasta of the Wolf. But did you know that there have been real document feral children history? Peter the Wild Boy of Hanover, Germany, discovered in 1725 is a famous example. Mary Angelique Mamie Lee Blank of Wisconsin, found at the age of 1731, is another. Peter had been surviving on forest flora before he was found. King George I took an interest in him and brought him to Great Britain. However, Peter remained the wild child he had been, unable to learn how to read or write. The only words he could ever utter were Peter and King George. Mary Angelique successfully learned how to read and write. Sold off as a slave when her Amerindian tribe was defeated by the French, she was bought by Madame de Courtemanche, who took her to France in November 1721. She ran off to the woods of Provence, only to be recaptured 10 years later at the village of Songi. She is therefore also known as the wild child of Songi. So, what this means is, there have been real children who lived in forests like Mowgli. Some I told you, like Olaf Baker and Edgar Rice, that Tarzan or Shasta next. They're all, I think, they're like not real, but in movies or books like this, they've been real. You must have seen 2 examples I told you, Peter and Mary Angelique. Peter had been surviving like Mowgli in the forest flora, and the small trees. Trees give fruits and those. And he never knew how to read or write, even after King George took him. Only words he could utter were Peter and King George. So, yeah, if you don't study it engaged like Peter, a wild child, you will never know how to read or write. I know that's difficult, for them also, like, they'll be alone in the forest. And then another is Mary Angelique. She successfully learned how to read and write, but her journey was quite long. You see, she was bought up by Madame de Courtemanche, who took her to France, and then she again ran off to the woods to be recaptured at the village of Sogni. So, I hope this was interesting. Now, just tell you that, did you know? Maybe I really don't, because it's good, and if I tell you almost everything, then you won't find it interesting to read. So better, more than me telling, did you know? You better read it, and everything in this is interesting, not 1 or 2, but the whole story. But it captures more of a feelings, like we'd be absorbed in the book when we read from the first page to the last one. Till we take it, we'll feel that, like, we feel absorbed, and we won't notice, right? When I first read the book, I was so absorbed in it that I didn't notice what was happening around me. But the story is very good, and you can't tell the story, like, you can only tell series by series because it's so big, like what I told you, and you can read it like I just told the gist. So this is the end of the story. Bye, and remember to do the exercises and read the small poems as you go, which they will make the story more interesting and fun. Bye. and see you later with another book. And you must have been waiting for a long time, for I didn't tell many stories recently. But never mind, I'll be telling some. I'll be posting some videos. Bye.